Welcome back. This is an Aleks training video on identifying the electron added or removed to form an ion from an S or P block atom. If you were to take an electron away in order to make an ion, you have to take the very last electron that's in the last subshell that electron lives in. So wherever it happens to be, whatever the last electron subshell is, if you're going to take one electron away, you have to take it away from that location. If you're going to add an electron to make it a negative, it depends where you're going to add it. If you are at the beginning or the middle of a subshell and you add one electron, you're going to add it to that same subshell. But if you're at the end of a subshell, like if you are full, if your subshell is full already and you add one more electron, you're going to have to go to the next subshell that's available, the lowest energy level subshell. So this is a pretty straightforward question. I like it. I would have never thought about this question, but I like this question because it kind of forces you to find out where electrons live. So let's look at the example they give us at the beginning, hydrogen. Hydrogen says the subshell from which the electron is removed to form a positive 1, and also the subshell from which the electron is added to form the negative 1. So let's go over to the hydrogen. Hydrogen is 1s1. That's its location. So if you steal an electron, it only has one electron. If you steal an electron, it's going to steal it from 5s. Or from 1s, sorry, not 5, 1s. The 1s subshell is where the electron lives. So if you steal it, you have to steal it from there. Okay, that's the lowest place that you can steal it from is the 1s, because that's where the 1 is. If you're going to add an electron and give it the same configuration as helium, well, that's 1s2. Well, that's also in the s. So if you add one, it'll be here in 1s2. That's where helium should live if it didn't look like a noble gas. So 1s1, 1s2. Okay, so it depends. If you are at, say, neon, all right, neon's the end of your P's. If you steal one from neon to make it like fluorine, you would steal it from the 2p because that's where it lives. But if you add an extra electron to make it like sodium, you are going to have to go to the next subshell, which would be the 3s. All right, so let's see if we can answer these questions. I don't think they're very hard. All right, oxygen. Which subshell is it to take one away, and which subshell is it to add one? Okay, so let's go back and do oxygen. Oxygen is here. Okay, so if it steals one, it's going to steal it from the 2p. Here's because it's living in the middle of the 2p. If it adds one, so if it steals one, it'll end up looking like nitrogen, which is in 2p. If it steals one, it's going to end up looking like fluorine, which is also in the 2p. So in the case of oxygen, the subshell that it is the 2p, and also it's 2p if you add one. Okay, what about rubidium? Rubidium is in this subshell. So if you add one, it'll look like strontium. So if you add one, it'll be in the 5s. What if you lose one? Okay, so if you lose one, here's where you are. So you're in the 5s. Well, it's in the 5s, so you're losing it. So it's also in the 5s. See, it's there, so I lose it from the 5s. I also gain it. I put it in the 5s. Okay, so rubidium would both be in the 5s's. So rubidium 5s, rubidium 5s. Okay, how about krypton? Now, krypton is in group 8. All right, so krypton, if you steal it from krypton to look like bromine, you'll steal it from the 4p. Okay, that's okay. What if you add an electron? Do you see if I add an electron, I have nowhere for it to go over here. I'm going to have to go to the next row So if I have Krypton and I steal one, then it'll be in the 2p. But if I gain one, where do I put that electron? I have to put it in the 5s. That's the next available subshell that's unoccupied. Right, so that was the only tricky one that I see. So, except that I forgot what it was. 5s. Krypton is in the 4p, and then it goes up to Krypton to the 5s. Right. So the first one will be 4p. And then if you add one, 4p is already full, so you have to go to the next one, 5s. Pretty easy, I think.